Yeah. Well, while we're on the subject of music, and this is a good tie-in actually to some news that I've noticed over the last week, and it's kind of linking to a new segment that we've been talking about, but I won't go into that just yet. But um, there is a 20-year anniversary album coming out that's being promoted, and um, massive band. Do you know, I was thinking about it this morning. It's probably one of my all-time favourites. Definitely top three. So that's
Wow.
saying something. Um, 20 years since. I don't even know if it was the first album that I definitely had of theirs. They may have had some kind of initial ones before that that kind of weren't as
Yeah.
as mainstream. But Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park,
Really?
20 years,
Wow. That's
and
insane, isn't
they're
it?
releasing a box set. Um, Sounds incredible. Don't ask me how much it is because I haven't done that much research to tell you how much it's going to be. And it's not out until next month, so not out till October. But
Right.
they're plugging it on Twitter and that at the moment. But it's going to contain 5 CDs,
Wow.
3 LPs, 3 DVDs of live
Yeah.
gigs that they've done, a cassette with all the original sort of recordings that they've done, an 80-page book, and then other posters, artwork, and things like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it sounds. I don't know how much they're going to put this all in for. I know two of the. Obviously, you've got Hybrid Theory, the first album. They've also got Reanimation, which was the
Mm.
remix one, which I thought that actually came out. I thought that was after Meteora, so I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
had some of the tracks from Meteora mixed on there as well. But yeah, incredible. Like, I
That is
mean,
amazing.
it's. I think it's such a shame that Chester, obviously, another famous, big
Mm.
name who passed away
Yeah.
suddenly,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's such a shame that they couldn't carry on as a complete entity. But
Yeah.
I know that they have still been doing stuff because I was listening to a bit of their stuff this morning, and there was a track of theirs with which was them featuring or them working with. Is it Steve Aoki?
Yeah.
You know what I'm on about? That
Yeah, I
he's like
do.
a famous
He's a
DJ, isn't he?
yeah, it's like a
Um, and
EDM
yeah, and
DJ.
I'm pretty sure it was just Mike Shinoda doing the vocals, and
Really?
the track wasn't what I would associate with Linkin Park, so
Yeah.
it's very different. But 20 years, God, doesn't that make you feel old?
It does make me feel incredibly old. Because I remember when that came out, and I remember that it's one of those memories working. I remember working in the shop and having the radio on then, and
Mm.
so it kept playing sort of. I can't remember what the first single was that came off of that, but it kept
Paper
playing.
cut.
Yeah, and keep thinking, wow, this is really good. I was serving customers thinking, yeah, this is really good. I really like this.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely loved it.
definitely one of the albums that got me into kind of new metal as
Mm.
it was then. And a funny story that you've never seen. You've heard this story because my best
Oh
man
yeah, I know
mentioned it
what
at
you're
my
gonna
wedding.
say.
But
Yeah.
the fact that when we were still at school, this is when we were listening to this. We was in sixth form, and I'd actually left, but two of my friends, Mark, who's
Yeah.
question mark, um, and a good friend of mine, Steve, they were doing media in A level and had to do a music video, and I was very keen to get involved, and we done out of Mark's Nan's garage. What song did we do? Oh God, I can't even remember what song. Was it Crawling? Maybe I can't even remember what song it was now off the top of my head. But it was incredible. We're miming. We had an electric guitar that weren't plugged in. We had me and Steve fighting over who was going to do the lead vocals. And this is all recorded. I've got a copy of it on videotape somewhere. I'll need to dig that out and play it. But it was incredible. But
Amazing.
we could literally sing, when I say sing badly, all of them songs word for word. Like it was just
Yeah.
an amazing, that first album and Meteor as well, actually. They
Yeah.
were just incredible albums.
They're an interesting band because I've always liked them. But people, some of the people in metal, like that really love metal and whatever, see them a bit more as a pop band, and for me they sort of sit on that balance quite well, and they've got really catchy songs and really catchy hooks. They don't really swear or anything in the lot of their songs,
No.
and it's quite darker
Clean.
subjects, but it is pretty safe in that regard, but it's still got that metal sort of
Yeah.
side to it. And they came out sort of fairly to the end of nu metal, and sort of you had Korn years before it, and then you had Limp Bizkit years before it, and they'd all had that success, and they came really at that tail end of stuff. I remember seeing them on that tour. No, I think I said when we was talking about the gigs. I saw the Deftones, which at the time were a band that me and my friend absolutely loved, and Linkin Park supported them.
How huge is that though for them?
Yeah,
In their earlier days to be supporting
as far as I'm
Deftones?
aware, that was their first gig in the UK.
Wow.
And I remember, seeing it and thinking, like having heard their stuff and thinking, oh, cool, it's them.
Were they good live?
They were, but it was unfortunately the London Arena had awful sound, and so it was. They were good, but it's just the sound was terrible in that place.
I've seen clips of them live, and one of their albums actually was like a Texas live album, which I've got somewhere, and it sounds incredible. But again, being there is completely different. Even still, just to listening to a DVD or whatever.
I did see him and again, I think this was in my top 5. I saw him later on in 2010, maybe. No, probably a little bit 2008, maybe. When they did a thing at Milton Keynes, and absolutely faultless, amazing, absolutely amazing band to see live. But it's good. It does. You're right, though. It does make me feel old. Unfortunately, I'm now of the age where a lot of my albums that are sort of the ones that informed my musical tastes are now 30 years old, and sort of.
But they're the ones that I find it really difficult to listen to newer music now. I think times have changed anyway, and we're in a different time for music with regards to what's more popular and so forth. I know you can still find your genre of music that you like, but I still find myself listening to all the old stuff, and I'll incorporate maybe a new artist here or there. But I know you're pretty good at listening to and discovering new stuff, because a lot of it you send to me. But it's still my go-to is Linkin Park, is Limp Bizkit and things like that.
Yeah. But the weird thing I find now is I can now, and I think Spotify is thanks to Spotify, is I can discover. I'm the same, but I'm sort of mainly. I was big into Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and that sort of early 90s alternative rock. Thanks to Spotify, I am now discovering bands that were out at that time that I never listened to, because at the time you had to buy a CD, and to spend 15 quid on that CD was a big thing if you're a teenager. So you didn't have that many unless your mate taped something for you. But now it'll come up, I'll sort of listen to an album and it will then carry on playing, and it plays similar stuff. And stuff comes up and I think, wow, who's this? I've never heard this before. I really like this. And then discover a band that I then Google and find out was probably quite successful at the time, but just weren't on my radar. Amazing.
Yeah. But even things like that, you've mentioned a band there, Smashing Pumpkins. Not one I knew of them, but they were probably a little
bit before your
time.
Bit
before my time.
Yeah.
But again, even now, having all their back catalogue to listen to on these music platforms is awesome, because if you do find one that you like them, for example, it's like discovering new music, but it's old. It's weird,
yeah, which is really crazy, isn't it? Yeah. And a band like Smashing Pumpkins sold millions. They were huge band, but now is relatively obscure because they haven't continued to do stuff. Well, they still release albums, but it's not.
And just for the viewers watching, you can confirm you're not related to Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan, no, but I do try and fashion my baldness.
Your look.